I forgot to put a title up, and Photoshop decided it wasn't going to play nice. So, episode 201 will be titled "Emergency Titling Procedures Activated."
Photoshop never plays nice, does it?
Well, it usually plays nice. This was going to be named the episode that it was going to be named. This is not the title that Mouse wanted, so that we could make him cry, but that's a little too long.
Yeah.
Don't make me cry, Argentina.
So let's go ahead and jump into episode 201. First off, I am Drew, your host, and above me are my beloved co-hosts Cece and Mouse. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hi, guys.
I'm Mouse Marriages, the Lord Keeper of the Flies.
Lord Keeper of the Flies this time around.
And
I got a
I'm Cece, and I am not that interesting.
She doesn't want to keep the flies.
Oh.
We're trying to
That sounds like awful.
we're trying to get rid of the flies.
Yeah, no.
What?
You can go be your own little lordship. I'll stay in the back and kill my own pig. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's okay.
We also did not have a show last week because of
Reasons.
work, and on Sunday Drew was somewhere special.
Yes, Drew was failing all of you miserably because I
You're a
failed you as a
miserable
correspondent
failure.
because I went to PAX and brought back almost no news at all. Sorry, it's my friend and I went there, and as prepared as I like to believe that I am when I go to a convention, I wasn't quite prepared for PAX. PAX is not one of those, you live in one city and you're about 3 hours away. You think, oh, what the hey, I can go out for the day and hang out and learn some crap and get some pictures and all that sort of stuff. No. PAX is not one of those things you can just go up and hang out for a day. PAX is one of those things you need a hotel room because you need to be able to recover in 2 or 3 hour spurts, because
Yeah.
in that regard it's a lot like sex, I imagine. But yeah, so I did
He
not,
imagines.
He imagines.
I imagine
Wow.
because
He
I'm just
imagines.
gonna leave
a
it
lot.
that way.
It's a very vivid imagination.
So next time we're going to go with the concept that I'm going to actually get a hotel room if I can get tickets again, because God knows they sell out immediately. But this time, if I do go, I'm going for 2 days, and I'm going to have a hotel room so that I don't have to keep running back and forth to my car.
That's a very good idea.
So, but I did enjoy it. I got pictures proving I was there. And I also sweated off about 20 pounds, considering it's about 1 billion degrees in there. That place is a madhouse. It is the entire convention center, plus the annex, plus another location, plus 3 hotels.
Damn.
Which proves why you can never be here in Portland, because we don't have 3 hotels near our convention center.
Yeah.
But outside of that, what was your impression of PAX? As someone who went there and was clearly, completely and absolutely overwhelmed beyond all possible use to our webcast.
Well, see, I had actually sat down and gone through the schedule of presentations that were going to be held on Sunday when I went, and I marked out a whole bunch of things I wanted to see. I literally had every hour marked out to where I want to see this, I want to see the 2 things on here I want to see, and I was literally going to say, hey, I went with my friend William. I said, hey, I was going to say, William, you go here, I'll go here. We'll double up. We'll take the video cameras. Nah. We spent the entire time on the exposition floor going through, games and trinkets and merch and stuff like that, and going, I want that. Oh crap! And there's a whole bunch of stuff to where you can't get, the freebie stuff is there, but you can't get the freebie stuff unless you play the game. And so I was playing games in order to get freebie stuff, and it was definitely wild, and that is why you definitely need someplace to number one, take the crap and put it away.
Oh, okay. I misheard that so bad. Okay.
What did you mishear, Vorpal?
I just thought you said something about taking a crap and putting it away. I'm saying, are the toilets that bad there? But never mind.
No. Yeah, no. So that's what we're going to try next time. But then again, we do still have TwitchCon coming up. I don't know how much I'll learn there, but at least for you guys, because it's TwitchCon.
Yeah.
But I will be there with another broadcaster. We will be there for the entire con. We will have a hotel room. So it should be a lot more low-key and non-exhaustive.
Yeah, PAX is huge.
Yeah, definitely.
Huge.
Yeah, and then
As
I think
Drew found out.
the sad thing is I think I have a better chance of getting into E3 next time, which is just as huge, further away.
Yes, but before you go next time, we're going to go over your schedule and we're going to go we're going to go over everything just to make sure that the viewers at home don't go, oh, come on, Drew, again? We might even have you do some live shows or pre-recorded bits.
Yeah.
We will be sophisticated.
We'll see about that.
If we can make that
All
work.
right. So since everyone's asking about the emergency titling procedures because I didn't have time to actually title the episode, we're going to get rid of that and move on to our topics of the day. First up is, of course, games and one of our favorite victims to kick, Batman Arkham Knight. Although they've finally done something to redeem themselves. Mouse, you want to...
Well, how many months after? It launched in August, didn't it?
Something like that.
No. When did that mess launch? CC?
August, I think it was. Maybe July.
It was
July?
like July. It was June or July.
So about...
They're late. So
they're late. So as we all know, the Batman Arkham Knight was one enormous, huge, apocalyptic mess, unplayable mess if you were on a PC. For consoles, the damn thing worked just fine, which just shows how much Warner Brothers put into actually releasing the port. Several reports that came shortly after the launch indicated that quality assurance and testing teams had in fact tagged over a gajillion, and that's an official sum, a gajillion number of unplayable game-breaking bugs in their testing. And Warner Brothers apparently went, seems good to me, and launched the big fucking mess. And it was so bad that they eventually had to pull the game from Steam. Now that Steam has refunds, so people couldn't get screwed, and Warner Brothers will go, we'll just have to wait until we release something, which might be never in the case of certain...
Arkham Origins, I'm looking at you. We'll be full of bugs and decide and release an official announcement saying, no, we're too busy working on the DLC to fix issues with the original game.
So, after that, after basically getting the shaming of the year, in which the release was called even worse, even buggier than Assassin's Creed Unity, and that was bad.
Well, this is straight up unplayable on
is
anything other than a top-of-the-line PC. And even then, with your top-of-the-line PC, you're still getting a 30 FPS frame rate, which is insane for a top-of-the-line PC.
And just to recap about how dishonest Warner Brothers was with the whole promotion of the game, you could see gameplay trailers that moved at very good speed, and it was lovely and flowing. And then people found out when they amplified the sound that the thugs who were getting hit sounded like chipmunks. The motherfuckers are essentially doubled the speed of the video and thought nobody would notice by burying it under another layer of soundtrack. So this is Warner Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. So now they have released a patch recently that apparently reduces frame rate hitches. It doesn't eliminate them. Optimization for system memory and VRAM usage, improved performance on all GPUs, but it requires the latest drivers, more comprehensive in-game settings, fixed low-resolution texture bugs, and my god, there were some horrible ones.
Oh, they were bad. Even the people who liked the game and enjoyed playing the game on their PC were like, this is looking kind of weird.
Yeah, it was bad. And also fixes hitches when running on mechanical hard drives, which... Okay, so that's all that's fixed now, and they're promising that on further future updates, they're going to add support for SLI and Crossfire, support for the latest DLC and Season Pass content, support for additional updates such as photo mode, and they're going to improve and fix bugs for a very specific Windows 7 memory issue that occurs. I want to know, Windows 7. That was the previous version, people.
Oh no, it's
There's-
2 versions ago. They're on Windows 10 now.
Well, don't remind me. Oh, but they're also improving some on some issues that are actually happening on Windows 10 with AMD GPUs. And also problems that happen with configurations with 8 gigabytes of RAM and some NVIDIA GPUs during extended gameplay, which CC told us last time that, that tends to happen over extended play. Things like, I don't know, the floor vanish or becomes essentially phantom, and you fall into the bowels of Gotham.
And you fall into the bowels of Gotham, and it becomes this weird, I see it as this existential thing about the state of Batman and how he'll never actually win. I view it as performance art.
I'm sure that's what they were going for.
It's like the falling into the loss of
Dante's
himself as
Inferno.
Bruce Wayne and slowly becoming nothing other than Batman.
I want to see. I want to see
Batman superimposed on Batman, superimposed upon Batman.
I want to actually see a version of Dante's Inferno with Batman in it, and I don't know, Vicky Vale as Beatrix.
Yeah.
You could see it. Modders just need to take this broken game and find one way to make it work or another. Just turn it into art.
By forging it onto Dante's Inferno? Okay, let's take Let's take one game and put it on another game.
No. I'm not talking about the game. Dante's Inferno. I'm talking about the actual Dante's Inferno by Dante Alighieri. Whole before going down to the circles of hell. You've read it. You're an English major.
Yes, and they've already made a game of it, so that's why I'm saying you want to take one game.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about the game with a gigantic swinging penis.
That game is not exactly the same as the original book, but
yeah, what was it?
I mean, for one thing, what kind of a game is that? You just walk through. Oh, hey, look! It's a tour of hell.
And what was it? The game that you?
I liked it.
Was it the Demon of that is like 30 stories high and has a dong that's like almost like it's as big as you?
What?
You've never seen the footage? Oh my god, you have to see it.
All I know is I remember playing a Final Fantasy game where the final boss I referred to as the five-faced phallus of God. So.
I think
that might not be a fan. That might have been a devil. Sorry. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we've beaten this horse enough to death.
Well, we can only hope. We'll find out shortly.
We can only hope. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to Bat Cow instead.
We have a new horse we can beat. Kojima-san.
Oh. So, Kojima, the release of the latest Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, was released to incredibly overwhelmingly good reviews. And, of course, as we all knew, Hideo Kojima has made his break with Konami and the franchise official in a video where it gets pretty emotional and touching, and then there's moments where they're clearly tooting their own horns. As Hideo Kojima is bound to do. This, of course, means that Kojima is no longer associated with Konami since the cancellation of the new Silent Hill game, and, of course, the issue with Benicio del Toro. To quote Jim Sterling, and, thank God for Jim, fuck Konami.
One day Konami's going to watch this broadcast and go, we were going to offer them something, but screw them.
I would never take money from Konami.
I didn't say I would take money from Konami.
I would. I'm poor.
No, you don't want the kind of strings that come with Konami.
I'm just saying. Yeah. Who knows? They could undergo an entire management regime change and.
Okay, then we need to clarify. Current Konami, if you're looking at this in 2 years' time and want to offer us a ride on your boat made of money, we love you. We love you so much. But
I should just put a running disclaimer at the bottom that says this is all current, current versions of people we hate. If you changed everything, opinions are open.
If you happen to digivolve in the future and change for the better, then we love you.
Yeah.
I'm all about the digivolving. Just ask Foof knows.
I don't want to know. But, So at this point, and of course, Konami has done their best to erase Hideo Kojima's name from the legacy of Metal Gear Solid, which and the Metal Gear games, which is kind of ridiculous because everybody knows.
It's an asshole move.
Yeah, it's Konami has essentially turned into like James Dean's evil brother and is racing down a broken down motorcycle over like a barricade made of babies and smoking. And then smoking the souls of the innocent at this point. I could not believe that in my hierarchy of evil assholes, Konami would ever beat Electronic Arts. But right now, as it stands, the unholy trinity is basically Warner Brothers, Electronic Arts, and Konami, with Ubisoft like trying to vie in. It's like the concubine trying to find which king is. You know what I mean.
Orbiting, looking for space. Is that
space.
Something like that.
So it's rather sad. Personally, I am not a fan of Hideo Kojima's works, mostly because I find that he's incredibly overindulgent in his storytelling and his dialogue, and several cases it turns into a case of tell, don't show. But I understand the series is very well loved and it has its fans, so I'm sorry for them and sorry that Konami has yet once again fucked up an entire IP that was part of its legacy. And I look forward to the day where we can see the new Metal Gear Solid pachinko machine coming up. Right next to Castlevania erotic violence.
Well, the good thing is, it's going to end up well for Hideo Kojima when they totally screw up the franchise and they can't attach his name to it. That'll be good for him.
And then
he
can pop up. Then he can pop up to Kickstarter and start, platinum obstacle semi-translucent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever, something, whatever.
Although I don't know if he will do something like that. I get the impression that he feels very much done.
Well, if he is, then great. He's earned his money, and he's made his mark, and he can go.
Well, for having withstood modern Konami, the man deserves a palace.
And let's be honest, compared to other people we could have been discussing today who are bitching about the fact that they made a whole lot of money and now are lonely, and I'm not going to say their name because you know who they are. Fuck you. Give me your money, and you can go find friends. I'll be lonely for you.
Yeah.
But
let me pay off my student loans.
Yeah. Well, I've already paid those off the hard way.
Well, on that particular subject, and I'm not going to name names, there is a saying that I really, really like, and it is that you need to be worthy of your money. That money will take you wherever you want to go, but it's not going to replace you as the driver.
Yeah.
And so if you basically live a life that is not introspective at all and you don't really know who you are, the moment you get everything you want, you're going to be feeling incredibly dissatisfied.
Because you still don't know who you are.
Exactly.
But anyway, Metal Gear Solid 5. I was about to...
Pain in the ass.
So, moving on. Our next topic is Mad Max.
Yeah?
Go on.
Share, please.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Cece, take it.
Okay.
Turn to the squirrels.
Mad Max. Yeah. There have been, when Mad Max was released, there were a number of really negative reviews, but all of a sudden they've come boosting back up, and everything is overwhelmingly positive, and I think that's kind of funny. There was something in particular that you guys wanted to talk about, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to talk about the release of the game since it happened very recently, especially on the heels of an incredibly successful movie.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, this game is released by Warner Brothers, and just like with any type of open world game such as this, it's a funny number of glitches, such as what happens when you're not. Well, basically, you can be basically taken out while in the middle of dialogue. The game continues going on around you, so you can continue talking, and then the person you're talking to, or you can just get wiped out. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But then again,
I came across that in Dishonored where I was talking to a girl and all of a sudden she got attacked by plague rats. And
yes.
I left the scene. Wasn't me. I didn't do it.
One of the glitches, and it's hilarious. You're talking to this woman, and there's cars racing all around you, and this car just passes by and takes you with it, just swipes you off the screen, and the woman just keeps talking. It's like, oh well, life in the wasteland.
Yep, if you're standing in just the wrong spot while talking with them, you can totally get taken up by a dune buggy.
I love it.
But overall, it's kind of funny because there were so many really negative reviews when the game came out. But if you look on something like Steam, the reviews there are pretty positive, and I personally haven't played it, so I can't attest to whether that's mostly nostalgia or if that really is. Oh well, the reviewers just aren't giving it the kind of credit it deserves, or I genuinely don't know. But it's kind of it's always interesting, and it's something that in my opinion, it shows that it demonstrates why I usually actually take the Steam reviews a little bit more seriously than any of the professional reviewer reviews, if that makes any sense. Because the professional reviewers will get hung up on something like, oh, they don't like the audio, and I'll just turn the audio off, and I'll continue to play the game, and I'll have a lot of fun. For example, if I was professionally reviewing the first Witcher, I would probably not give it a great score because it runs kind of weird on most computers. It's pretty glitchy and it'll sometimes freak out, or like I recently got killed by a bunch of wyverns because I could not fight them. I was just standing there swinging my sword like, what up? Come at me, bro. And wouldn't let me actually swing my sword. But it's a crazy fun game and I love playing it. So I don't know. It may be a case of that where it's pretty glitchy, but you can get over it. It's not like the Batman glitchy where you're like, I can't even play this game.
You can't even play this game. I did notice, for example, I always like reading Jim Sterling's reviews because he's not technically a professional reviewer in that he does not work for any of the major publications anymore. And he said the game wasn't bad, but he said it was mediocre, and he gave his reasons. And
let me just preface this. I think he can call himself a professional reviewer. He's not a commercial reviewer.
Yeah, he's not a commercial reviewer. And he gave his reasons, and I think, his reasons sound good. Well, at least he substantiated enough for me not to want to buy it now, but wait until there's a sale. Mostly because he says that it's not a bad game, but it's the kind of game that you would get once all of the, you've exhausted all of your options and you're in the middle of the game drought kind of thing. Especially if you're not a hardcore lover of the Mad Max series. And I was in a very bizarre spot. Like, I was a kid when the Mad Max movies first came out. I never got really into them. I'm more of a Fallout kind of person, which you think would be comparable. But, the Mad Max universe is, very gritty, very hardcore, etc. And the Fallout universe has this sort of dark humor background to it. And I like the dark humor more than just,
Yeah.
So I guess I am the wrong audience to get into the Mad Max games.
Well, the funny thing is while I was looking at the graphic for this, I just look at this and I keep thinking, that's Defiance's graphic. Because if I were to pull up the Defiance graphic, it is almost exactly the same graphic.
Yeah, they've got that bridge broken down. Interesting.
So, anyways, shall we move on?
Interesting.
Let us move on.
Next up is the kerfuffle, as Mouse would put it, the kerfuffle over Deus Ex Mankind Divided's pre-order. And we always preface this with, if you're getting a game on a PC where the likelihood of the game running out of stock is non-existent, why in the hell would you bother pre-ordering? Because it's going to unless you're getting a great discount at the beginning of this or something, it's not going to run out. It's not going to run out. There is no physical, tangible thing that they're going to run out of stock of.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Why would you pre-order a digital game?
So Deus Ex has now made, and I don't even know all the tiers. I just know they've got. Mouse, do you know the tiers better than I do?
Well, here's the thing. The best way that I can put it to you is this. You guys remember when Arkham Knight did its pre-order thing, and it was basically a fucking spreadsheet where you basically had to calculate, okay, so I want this and I want this, so I have to go for this tier, right? Well, Square Enix, trust Square Enix, modern Square Enix, to fuck it up even more than Warner Brothers. They have now essentially created a choose your own adventure pre-order tier, which basically is at which each tier you have to decide whether you want one thing or the other. And as more people give money for the pre-order, more tiers become available, so you can basically create your own tree of tiers, basically. Unless you want to have everything, at which point you have to pay $150.
And by tiers, we're meaning TEARS now.
Yes.
Not TIERS.
Although at this point, I'm quite sure that Squaresoft would be very, very happy if you actually gave them your actual tiers to fuel this game.
Anything, any bodily
Something
fluid, I'm
like
sure
that.
they'd be thrilled with, yeah.
I'm not sure all bodily fluids, but I do not wish to test that hypothesis.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to test it either. But the long and short of it is that on top of the tiers where you get to customize what content you're getting, and again, as other reviewers have said, it's not a matter of customizing what you're getting; it's customizing what you're leaving out.
Yeah.
It's like what you're not getting. They have, on top of that, a worldwide tier that, as the worldwide pre-orders go up, certain things become available up to the point of, I think the maximum tier was that the game would release 4 days early.
Yeah. What the fuck, Squaresoft? Seriously.
4 whole days, they will change my life.
Well,
Exactly.
4 whole days, and not just that, but for, again, that's for the people who are pre-ordered, so they get it 4 days early. Everyone else has to wait those 4 days, and in those 4 days, everyone who pre-ordered in streams or whatever is going to be spilling the beans on the game, because I can guarantee you in 4 days, most players can be done with it.
Probably.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
we have talked about how you want to do an ethical, well-managed pre-order or Kickstarter. This is not it.
I'm pretty much boycotting anything that's a pre-order at this
Yeah.
point. On principle of no.
Yeah, someone is raising this counterpoint. He's not in chat. Get onto chat for
Get
crying
in
out
the
loud.
chat. How can we
Get
not?
in the chat, seriously. Because that means that's one more place where I have to put my eye, and my eyes will fall off. But
And there's 3 of us here to read it. So.
I know. Leo says that pre-orders and early accesses on Steam are sometimes used by indie developers and a few AAA studios to fund themselves, usually when they're near the verge of going bankrupt or when they need to get more resources to smash bugs, add content, translations, polish, or further funding.
Which is fair. This isn't that.
Yeah, this is not that. This is
Anytime
this is Squaresoft. This is Square Enix. This is the company. They're swimming in money, and they've also have been putting out some of the worst versions of Final Fantasy since forever. So they don't get any sympathy ever.
The premise behind this is not so much. I understand the whole. I need more money in order to do this, that, or the other thing. It's went beyond budget. Fine, I understand that concept. However, the concept that we're going to put out these magical tiers of subscription and whatever, and you can buy this exclusive thing and this mission over here and this special weapon.
But you have to give up these other things.
Yeah, but you have to give
on
up
the
these
same
others,
tier.
which means that they have produced a game that is essentially incomplete for launch.
Yeah, no matter what you do, no matter what tiers you choose. Now on Kickstarter, if you go when I backed Hero U, up until this point you get these rewards. Up to this point you get these rewards, and you have player rewards and you have game rewards. Basically, if we manage to raise up to this amount of money, then this will be in the game, and so on and so forth. If you pay us this much, then you will get this much. At this point, it's basically no matter how much people give to the game, you're still going to get this broken, this broken ass incomplete game unless you shell out $150. Then you get everything. And I'm sorry, that is pure steaming bullshit. So fuck Squaresoft too.
It's just, I just want to buy the damn game. And with a game like this, it's a big release. I should be able to just go, oh, I want to buy the full game, and then be able to do that.
And like I said, this is a situation where you're penalizing your early adopters, because eventually there will be a complete set, and
Yes.
more likely than not, that complete set will appear first in pirated copies.
Exactly.
So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, because the person who wants the complete set is no longer is incentivized to pay you for it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And at this point, honestly, I don't even want to get the game because this creates so much ill will.
And it just
I don't-
makes it... Oh, sorry.
No,
Continue.
go on.
It just makes it so that if I want to go ahead and buy the... Like, it makes me not even want to buy the pre-order, because I know that there's later going to be an official release. Even, like, take into account, I don't pirate games. Let's just put that
Yeah.
out there. I never pirate games unless they're completely unavailable, right?
Yeah.
Like, old Sierra stuff is oftentimes
Yes.
completely unavailable.
Although it no longer is.
Although it no
Remem-
longer is, which is really nice.
Remember, people, go to Good Old Games or GOG.com
Yeah.
if you want to get your Sierra games or your, well, some of the LucasArts games. That is our shameless plug. We're not getting paid by them. I just love them.
Yet,
Well,
if they want to pay us.
In any case, in any case, if I want to go ahead and buy the complete game and I don't want to pirate it, I have to wait like a year. I have no reason to go ahead and buy this pre-ordered version, because then later I'm just going to have to buy the update that'll give me everything else,
Exactly.
when I could just wait a year and then get the entire game. I've done that with the Batman games, and I hate it because I really want to play the Batman games as soon as they come out, because they're Batman. I love Batman, but I don't really have a reason to.
Exactly.
Well,
So, and you can look at how differently other companies deal with this. The Witcher, they're the Red Disc, right? Is it Red Disc? Look at how they've handled DLC and pre-ordering. That's how you want to do it.
Good job, Witcher guys.
Yeah, seriously.
We like you.
I am not a fan of the franchise, mostly because, again, I don't like the main character. But but I appreciate how well it has been done, and how well they have treated their backers, their pre-orderers, and their fans in general. Squaresoft learned that shit fast.
And people who really like the comic books really like the games generally, because they feel like they've taken the lore, they've taken the comic book stories and used them well. So it's altogether Witcher people, yay! And I actually like Geralt. I think if we're gonna have a grizzled monster hunter, he should be kind of grumpy and unlikable. I don't see him coming after church on Sundays being like, oh yes, let's have the potluck. I'm bringing sweet potatoes. Like, no. He's just like, no, go away. I will kill you. Enough. Like, I want him to be unlikable.
let's move on, because we got more topics to get, and we're already 40 into this.
Yes.
So next up is StarFox Zero's
StarFox
release
Zero.
date.
Yes, StarFox Zero has a release date for November 20, and furries everywhere will cry rejoice. This is a series that has not been seen for a long time, if you don't count the DS release, which wasn't that good. The game is set to showcase the gimmick of the Wii U, which is, of course, its little gamepad controller, which is a really cute controller. And as you know, the game series has been sort of Nintendo's guinea pig. They have always used it to showcase the new technology. Like, back in the Super NES, when we went, oh my god, that's 3D! Not really, but sort of, kind of. And then you saw the Nintendo 64, etc. So I'm actually excited about this, and it's going to be a retelling of Star Fox 64, which itself was a retelling of the first game, so it's kind of the same story but different flavor. The story's never really played a huge part in the game. You just want to, shoot ships and make fun of Slippy.
Yeah.
But we've seen also the art for the Wii U box, and the puppets are back. Do you remember the puppet when StarFox was first being advertised for Super Nintendo? You had all these like puppets that they made of the StarFox characters posing for like the advertisements, and it looked like, I don't know if you guys aren't old enough. There used to be, I'm not old enough. I saw it because of reruns, but there was this show called the Thunderbirds, which was basically a puppet only show, but it was like a serious. Drew had seen it.
Just think of Team America.
Yeah, that's right. Team America used the same kind of puppetry that was used in Thunderbirds. And the first Star Fox puppets kind of had this eerie Thunderbirds look. And actually, someone showed me a picture of one of them. They had found it in an attic in like the Nintendo headquarters a couple of years back, and it was eaten by moths. So like half of the metallic skeleton was showing. It was this nightmarish Star Fox rises from the grave.
Yeah.
But now we have the official launch date, and I admit I will be getting that game because Star Fox is cool.
Yeah. Yay, Star Fox.
I'm sorry.
Who doesn't love Star Fox, really?
I'm ramping up Mouse's light levels because he's in the darkness in there.
Yeah, your cave.
I come from the shadows, my dear.
All right, moving on.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Now let's scroll back down the screen here. Okay, after Star Fox, here's my great disappointment in life. This is I went to PAX. I actually met with the BioWare people, and I did not even learn this. Until I came home. I feel so sad. I took my goddamn Art of Dragon Age with me to have them sign it, for God's sake, and I still missed this.
You know, I think we need to send someone else to do the reports on.
Then fine, you pay for it next time.
You obviously you get a little bit overwhelmed. I can imagine Drew walking and going, "Oh my God, it's full of stars."
That's not what I did. It was, oh my God, it's so freaking hot. Dragon Age Inquisition has announced that there will be another DLC, and just to prove my inattention on this, there was a DLC last month that I missed. That was called The Descent. The new DLC will be called Trespasser, and will actually take place approximately 2 years after the events of Dragon Age Inquisition. And it basically deals with a world that no longer needs you as its savior. And, what?
I like that.
No. I just had to... Keep going. No, keep going. I just had this image of the Dragon Age main character just going around to different towns going, do you have any odd jobs I need to do? And like the entire quest system now is basically just you doing like menial things, like taking out the trash for other people, painting houses.
So basically everything I do in World of Warcraft?
Exactly. Basically, Dragon Age turns into The Sims.
Yeah, I saved the world twice. Do you have any shit you need me to paw through in order to find a berry?
Well,
Yeah. Can you pick 6 berries for me? I would, but I'm tired.
Can you go deliver this, across the street? Cause...
Or you know what? Eventually, it could. Of course, this is what The Witcher would do. But you know what happens to celebrities who are basically has-beens and nobody really has work for them. You don't basically. What I'm driving at is they do porn. So one of the sub-quests is eventually doing. Well, this is a medieval magical world, so instead of actual video porn, you just pose for lurid woodcuts. But.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is just an example of, there are so many games, and now that I realize there's Descent I still have to play, plus Trespasser when it comes out, there are so many games now in my queue of things I need and want to play. I don't have enough time anymore. People, Patreon, there will be a link later. Pay me not to work. I will play video games for you. I will.
I thought you were going to get a Patreon to draw your comic.
That's in there also, but pay me not to work.
Actually use...
That's a milestone. That's a goal.
Yeah. Have not used in months.
I used it the other day, so hush.
To what? What did you use it for?
I used it to draw.
I will have to see proof of this after.
I ended up deleting it because I didn't like the way it came out.
Ah.
No, I did draw it, so there. No
Okay,
guilt.
so Dragon Age Inquisition. Trying to drag the you guys back to the topic.
Yeah, thank you for being our den mother. And for being our den mother, the next topic is yours.
Oh, X-Wing. Oh, yeah. X-Wing starter box set. That is older news. Hang on. Can I do I actually want to skip this one because I didn't really understand this. Oh, no. Never mind. This is what I'm thinking of. Okay, sorry. I thought this was something else that I was like, oh, I decided not to do this one. Okay, so they have new toys out for Star Wars. This is kind of older, and the latest is this little robot version of the little orange and white droid you see in the commercials.
BB-8.
That's basically a ball. Yeah.
BB-8. Yeah.
BB-8, yeah. I'm describing it, so if you don't know what BB-8 is, it's a ball with a little head on top. It looks kind of like a round Segway technology thing. It just goes and rolls across. Anyway, the new toys look really, really cool. They're crazy. They look like they're going to be really nice collector stuff. And I know that makes me sound awful. It's like, oh yes, the toys will be great for collecting. But they look like a lot of fun. I was looking over these, they have this really nice X-Wing. And it's a specific X-Wing. I don't know anything about the story, and I'm doing everything I can to not know anything about the story. I want to go into the movie not knowing what's happening. But
You're the anti-Drew.
Yeah, I'm the anti-Drew. So it has this really cool X-Wing, and you can actually open it up, and there are these seats. No, not X-Wing. I'm stupid. Okay, really cool TIE fighter. It's got these really cool seats and little models everywhere, and they're all really, really positive reviews, and everybody loves the little remote. Okay, the BB-8 that everybody's talking about.
I so want that thing.
You can control it with your phone. And it just runs around and does stuff. So if I want to tell someone in my house something, I could tell the BB-8 to tell me something. I could be, oh, BB-8, record this message. Record the message, and then I can roll it over to my roommate's room because I don't want to walk 10 steps and play it for them.
Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Yeah.
Help me, Obi-Wan.
Yeah. You're my only hope. Can you do the dishes? So I think the BB-8 is $150, and so if anybody really wants to surprise me with $150 worth of present, you can either buy me a new phone, which I desperately need because I just dropped mine on the floor, or... No, it's fine. It's in a case, and my floor is carpeted. You've seen me throw my phone at people's mouths. It's fine.
Yes, I have.
A dark side of Cece that we don't know about. She's actually Naomi Campbell
I don't know.
in
Nobody has
disguise.
seen this. Remember, she keeps admitting that she likes games in which everybody dies.
Well, so do I. What's your point there? Maybe that's why I don't have a cell phone.
People are disturbed.
You realize you can watch people play on Steam, right? You your friends list. You right click and you're watch stream, and and if they accept, you can watch them run around and murder things.
Which is how Drew plays stealth games.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know that.
No. I don't watch people kill things in stealth games. I kill things in stealth games.
I mean, you're missing me singing the Batman theme while I knock over small children because you don't hear my audio as well. But anyway, and I was getting onto people for going off topic. But anyway, the new Star Wars toys.
It's natural. It's a flow. We go with it.
Anyway, Star Wars toys. They look awesome. I really like the new BB-8. I want to buy one.
We all want to buy one.
All right.
I'm kind of do I need a car? Do I really need to buy a new car?
Okay, so skipping on to the thing that you wanted to talk about.
Yes. The Age of Sigmar. There's all this. Okay. What is this company? Not Wizards of the Coast. Games Workshop has been pounding out new models. I originally... Oh, hush.
What? I actually coughed.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being
Jeez. Get attacked here just for anything.
My bad.
God.
My bad. I thought you were...
So what does this tell you about our relationship with Mouse?
I was just really? You made that sexual? Okay.
I'm just gonna go.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I'm sure getting a banana. Keep going.
So they have the new Age of Sigmar models that have come out recently. They're the Stormcast Eternal Prosecutors, and they are gorgeous. Bell of Lost Souls had a little note that's like, I'll bet people are going to be buying these and putting them on their Blood Angels. They said, I bet a lot of these minis will end up as Blood Angels. How about you? But these new models are gorgeous. I haven't seen a new model that they've taken out that I haven't loved. The new Khorne Blood Warriors, I think they're 2 or 3 weeks old. I originally sent this to Drew when it was breaking news, and they are gorgeous. Everything is fantastic. And I think they're preparing for everything going to be 3D printed. Because everybody knows that in like 15 years, we're all going to have our own 3D printers.
Yeah,
and I'm really
I've actually
looking
been
forward to those.
looking into making my own action figures for my comic using 3D printers.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
And so these little models, I don't know if they're trying to make as much money as they still can before people start really 3D printing things. You can already buy counterfeit Warhammer models, be it Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy, which I guess nobody plays anymore, which is sad, but whatever, or Warhammer 40K, any of these tabletop games. I don't know if they're trying to up the quality to the point where you really want to buy them because your 3D printer can't emulate that. I don't know, but they're really, really pretty, and I really want them to update a lot of the Eldar models because I love the sleek lines of the Eldar models, but they're looking kind of 1991 compared to everybody else's pretty blood-covered Khorne models. Just like they haven't really changed any of the designs in a long time. So I'm hoping maybe. Well, I was hoping they'd come out with a bunch of new models when they released the new Eldar Codex, but they didn't.
Well, it's not like they've stopped producing things, so who knows?
They had some, but they didn't have. They didn't really update the look, is what I'm looking for. I was sad.
All right.
Anyway.
Next up, something else that was announced at PAX Prime. Tryon Games has announced a new game coming out called Atlas Reactor. This is a strategy tactics game. However, the key difference here is that instead of they said the problem that they've come into with tactics games is that you're always waiting on somebody's turn. So I plan out my turn, and then my turn takes place, then you do your turn, and then your turn takes place, and then I do my turn, and it's back and forth and back and forth. The difference with Atlas Reactor is it will be simultaneous. So you basically have to not just plan your attack, you have to anticipate where your enemy is going to be and what they're going to be doing in that same round. Because you will both be planning your attacks, and then the entire round will go as one big action. And so your entire party can just move off in another direction with no reason, and then attacks just hit where you were.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this idea. It's like clusterfuck the game,
or it's like actual battles.
Yes,
I think it's hysterical. And now my only issue is that. And this is more of a thematic one. The art style is freaking Borderlands meets WildStar. What is this toony? I mean, there's a little bit of Team Fortress 2 visually in there. I don't know what this tooniness is that's coming in. It seems to be pervading a lot of games these days.
From an artist's point of view, I can tell you why. It's easier, really. When you compare the amount of time and money, primarily, that goes into developing realistic-looking 3D, for example, or very complex models, and then doing all of the texture work to make sure that it's perfect, you got all the ocularity, all that stuff, it's incredibly time-consuming, whereas if you go for the toony style, you don't really have to deal with a lot of the issues that realistic 3D designers have to deal with. So for
compare Assassin's Creed Unity graphics to Team Fortress 2 graphics.
Exactly. It's the same reason. It's the same reason why today more and more cartoons have more stylized characters, rather than say when you go look back at the 80s and you look at the Thundercats, and you had actual, regular proportions, a lot of detail, but that costs a lot to animate, and more stylized forums do not. And it's kind of the same thing with in game development too. If you go for a stylized look or a cartoony look or a cel shaded look, you don't have to invest as much into breaking the piggy when it comes to graphics.
Okay, Mouse is going out of his way to make the camera go crazy. I'm getting these like white flashes going.
That's just my fabulousness.
We just need sparkles and things going off behind you. All right. Next up is another big topic. We're going to... Let me get my thing to scroll down here. Kindred spirits on the roof. I don't even... This is the first topic where I'm going to go... The first of two topics where I'm just... I don't know where to go with this. For those who don't know what Kindred Spirits on the Roof is, Steam has had for the longest time a policy of basically no adult-themed games, per se. So they basically have always said you can go elsewhere for that type of content if that's your shtick.
Yeah.
Kindred Spirits on the Roof is apparently going to break that particular shtick, in which this will be as one person said it, the only way to win this game is by having the main characters bone each other. However, two things I point out. While I have no particular problem with adult-themed games, problem number one I have is that I don't want it on Steam, because if I were playing it, I don't want you people knowing. Number two... You
don't want people to know how many hours you spent.
Yeah, you don't need to know how many hours I played,
Especially if the game can be finished in like 20 minutes, and you look at, why has Drew played this for 26 hours?
Continuously. The second problem I have is that the protagonists in the game are female. Both female. So this isn't even, and again, you guys have seen my opinion on, straight, gay, bi, I'm bi, I don't care, whatever. This is the first game where sex is allowed on Steam is girl on girl. And
I'm not surprised. Color me surprised.
I don't even know what, I'm just going to give it to you guys. I just don't know what to say at that point.
Well, what's killing me is that I have a strong suspicion that, like a lot of material similar to this, I really doubt it's actually marketed to women.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, like that, and that always kills me. They're like, oh well, because in this article that Dory shared with us, they're talking about how this is a great stand and we're making progress for gay rights.
It was a Kotaku article, and they're pretty much like the mouthpieces of craziness. So
yeah, they're trying to talk about how this is a step forward for gay rights, and you can say that, but the flip side of that is that it's not actually trying to be designed for women, or to actually look at the realistic viewpoint of a lesbian relationship. It looks more exploitative.
Yeah, it's like...
I'm like, really? I mean, I had some friends who were live tweeting me while they were watching lesbian porn, and I mean, they're lesbians, and they were just like, yeah, well, let's watch some girl-on-girl porn, and they're watching it, and they kept texting me. They were like, what is this? They keep zooming on at their buttholes. I don't care about someone's butthole.
Boys. That's what it is.
Like, what am I going to do? It's not actually geared towards women a lot of times, and I think...
Yeah, it's all of these games that basically take on the Japanese aesthetic. And let's be honest, Yogi games are aimed at men, and yaoi is not actually aimed at gay men. It's actually aimed at women.
Yes,
because Japan has really no concept of what actual lesbians and gay people like, because they're an incredibly shuttered society where conformism is the guiding prime line. So it's man on man action, but it isn't really. It's just basically the way they paint it is like the way they write these characters are basically just female with male parts.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to appeal to women. And just the way that the Yuri is also, it's not about two lesbian characters in a relationship. It's about basically two female characters who have a sexual relationship, but it's not written for the sake of that relationship, but merely to titillate someone outside of that relationship. And if you want to titillate, that's fine, but just don't pretend it is something that it isn't.
Yeah, again, I'm totally okay. If you really are just like, yeah, well, I like watching girl on girl action. Awesome. Do what you will. Have fun. Don't include me. Don't really get much out of that. Have fun. But don't pretend that this is because you are pushing the boundaries of society and this is a step forward for gay rights, because it's really not.
One more step for a gay man.
Well, I mean, it's not even just that. It's the fact that this is the first adult game for Steam, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I mean, really, Steam? Really?
There are better games that should have this honor. And for me, for example, Larian, Amazon Princess, is actually better in quality than a lot of these stupid visual novels that are coming out. And here's the thing, I like visual novels, but they have essentially the majority of the visual novels produced today by both Western and Japanese developers follow a very specific route, and there's very little innovation. Larian, the Amazon Princess, takes that and turns it into a visual novel role-playing game where you actually can have a character who is gay or lesbian actually have a meaningful relationship with, salacious little sex scenes. Actually, they're not super explicit, but even though they're not explicit, they couldn't get on Steam. They had to censor them. So I would honestly prefer just a non-censored version of Larian the Amazon Princess, because the writing on that game is pretty good. And I guarantee you that this game, which basically two little ghost girls trying to bone so they can have eternal peace, is not going to be that.
And I think part of me would have been less bothered with this game if there were alternate solutions other than them having to have sex. I mean, yeah, okay, great. Put it in there. I don't mind. But is that the only solution that has to be in there? Really? Because, two little teenage girls having sex doesn't appeal to me in the slightest bit. That's kind of creepy on a level to me. So I'm like, is there an alternate solution to this? Maybe they, find, a ribbon that they can go tie around a tree or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that it's, their first one has to be Yuri oriented.
Drew, I have to ask a favor of you.
Yes.
Next time when we're discussing a Yuri game, and I am taking a bite from something, do not say, put it there, it's all right. Put it in there, it's all right. Bad phrasing. Absolutely bad phrasing. You almost killed me.
I make no promises.
So, in any case...
You take me as you get me. There you go. There's your Warpleism of the day.
Oh, God.
In any case, this is our... Like, of all the choices you could have made, really? This is going to be the first adult game on Steam?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's like bringing, I don't know, it's like bringing Mae West to do a sex ed class. It's just bad choice.
So...
Or Sarah Silverman. That's for this generation. Sarah Silverman doing a sex ed class.
She might actually be good. And never mind. Let's not go into that.
Let's not go there.
I'm not going to go.
Let's go on to Moonrise, the failed Pokemon-esque game, and sadly, I'm sad to see it go. I actually kind of wanted to play it.
I am sad to see it go, and here's the thing: I had never even heard of this game. Unfortunately, it seems that for being a Pokemon-inspired tactical MMORPG, nobody chose it. Unfortunately, they had a very low user base. And so they're going to close the servers on midnight on December 31st, just to make some people's New Year absolutely horrible, I guess. For the very, very few, apparently, who actually really, really do love this game.
So sadness abounds. There's not much to say on that except that sadness abounds.
Yeah.
And then from one failure to another,
Yeah.
Soul Calibur Lost Swords. Now, you want to take that one?
Well, it's basically go on, Cece.
Well, it's funny because you say failure. It's not really a failure. They actually were very successful. They're just announcing that they're no longer going to be supporting the game and it's no longer going to be available. And this always makes me a little nervous when they say
I call that a failure of sorts.
Yeah,
But if you look at it that way, every MMO out there is destined to fail.
Yeah.
Take
Which is
that,
why
City of Heroes.
Shut up. This is why I don't play MMOs anymore. Not after what happened with City of Heroes.
City of Heroes.
Yeah, and
We miss you.
I don't know. It makes me a little wary. It's like, oh, so you bought this game and you're never going to be able to play it again. Look, Guild Wars is no longer supported, but I can still play it. It doesn't mean that it's going to be exceptionally good. I've really only gotten them there when I've had one too many drinks since they've since they've changed over to Guild Wars 2.
Well,
the servers are dead and weird, and
it's just like with that other, what was that game we talked about, the Flock. Mm-hmm. When a certain number of people die, that's it, game over.
Yeah. And things like something like this, like Soul Calibur, which is so beloved, it's single player. That's the thing. The MMOs are multiplayer, and so when you can no longer when they shut down the servers for those games because they can't really support people anymore, it's like, well, they realistically can't keep that running. Soul Calibur is first person, so it's a little. It's one player versus computer, so it's a little weird to me that they're canceling it. And maybe there's a lot more to it that I personally don't understand. I don't work in the industry. I sing opera. So we'll see. Yeah.
So next up is the second item of the day where I just go,
what the
what? This is a game that came out in 2013, and apparently some idiot in 2015 just discovered it.
Well, here's the thing. It's an educational title, so most people will have gone, oh God, education, no. Because let's be honest, outside of very few games like some of the educational Sierra games, most educational games suck ass.
They do, and this is pretty insensitive to say the least.
This is pretty assy to begin.
I mean, this is like what was that mobile game where you could bomb Yemen or something? This is really no more or less sensitive than that. I mean, it's just as terrible. It's just as making light of very real tragedies.
This is one of a handful of ones. It's like the other one. There was one that was for the plague. There was one for something else. And I'm like, what?
So the game is called Playing History 2, Slave Trade by a Dutch developer, Serious Games.
Well, first of all, it's a Dutch developer, so they may not really understand that means.
Trust me, the Dutch were involved in the slave trade. The Dutch know.
They were involved in the slave trade, but they don't have the after effects of that affecting their economy and culture as much as, say, America.
Well, Even then, okay.
They should know better.
Let me put it to you this way. So the big controversy is the fact that the game has basically a slave Tetris minigame in which you are. I should not be laughing at this because it is horrible, but it is so mind-bogglingly
ludicrous is what it is.
Where you basically put poor slave people into a boat, and they are different shapes, and you basically are piling on bodies in a Tetris-like game to cram as many in the hold as possible, and it's just so freaking bad.
I mean,
here's the thing.
It's sadly, truthfully indicative of what was done. It's unfortunately the worst possible representation that you could do.
Yeah.
It's like this. Okay. Even though we're talking about, they did not suffer the impact as much, but still, I mean, imagine if someone had created Playing History 4, the Holocaust, and they had a game just like this, but in that you had to put Jews and Gypsies and gays into an oven, Gestapo, Nazi Tetris. It's the same level of what the fuck were you thinking?
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to excuse that at any point. I'm just trying to put together a little bit of devil's advocate there. I do think that they know exactly how bad it is, but I'm trying to say, well, we could at least try to say that they don't understand how terrible it is.
No.
Fully, even though they really do. They should know, especially if this is a playing history thing. Like I said, it's just playing devil's advocate. Even if we give them the benefit of the doubt that they might not really get it, it's still absolutely awful.
What I'm going to say is actually this is not a failure of understanding history. I think this is a failure of understanding game design, period, because one of the important things that you ask yourself when you're designing a game is what parts of my game are going to be playable, which is what parts of the game am I going to highlight through interactivity and what parts of the game are just going to tell things to the player. So, and any game developer worth his salt knows that when you basically create a ludic experience, or that is when you turn something into a game, you could very well trivialize it, like, if you think about the
You're trying to teach the horrors of a dark time in our history. It isn't necessarily something we should brush aside and forget. Absolutely not, because again, those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. But you don't go out and make it cute and fun.
Yeah, and do not turn it into a mini game. Just like it's the same thing as if you're trying to create awareness for example, the plight that women suffer when they are raped. You do not make a mini game out of rape kits.
Yeah.
You don't make Roofie Quest the mini game.
Yeah. No, it's like just apply some common sense into this. But here's the thing: it does not. The awfulness of design is not limited solely to the slave Tetris. It goes throughout all of the game. You get asked math questions, about, if I have 1.45 slaves, and if I want to get my hold, and it only holds, so it's stupid all over. Now the developer took down the game and then released a version without the slave Tetris in it. It's a small improvement, but the game all over is just plain awful.
Yeah, and
it's the dumbest thing.
Even if they're trying to go for the shock and awe of, oh god, this is awful, the tastelessness kind of thing, there comes a point where that's not acceptable. It's really not acceptable. And like, people are going to be making a lot of 9/11 jokes in about 5 days, that some of them might be awful and a tiny bit funny, but most of them are going to be like, hey, no, a lot of people died from that. There are a lot of people who are still affected by that. There are a lot of people who have PTSD. Like, you calm it down.
Yeah, and this would be the equivalent of, let's make a video game like that one where you have to make the plane jump up and down, except we're going to make it aim for buildings.
Yeah.
And they release it and call it Playing History 911. No.
Yeah. And I just fear that you might have given some idiot an idea out there somewhere, Drew. So if this happens, I blame you.
We have 7 viewers.
I have clearly said no
Twitch.
to whoever just thought of that.
We know your names. Those who,
If you're on Twitch, if you're one of the YouTube people, then
YouTube, they could be watching this later. Yeah. But I've said no,
Don't.
so I...
No.
Just say no.
Yeah.
As Nancy Reagan used to say.
In fact, I'm claiming it now just so that I can make sure it doesn't happen. So therefore, I will sue you for copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a patent of the game and never release it.
Worse things have happened. All right, so let's move on out of normal games and on to Tabletopia.
This is such a cool concept.
Tabletopia.
One of my issues usually is that I don't have people to play tabletop games with because my husband sucks, and he will not play. He's just looking at me going, he will not play.
Enough with your sex life.
Yeah. He will not. He will not play.
You realize people are watching this, right?
Oh, hi.
He will not.
It's season 2, bitches. Deal with
it. Okay, he will not play with me unless other people play too. So usually, my collection of board games up there just gathers. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
He won't play with you unless other people want. You vorpaled yourself on that one.
The whirlpool effect.
CC is giving us the disapproving look.
Okay, to clarify, he will not play board games with me unless other people play board games with us too. So, although CC likes playing board games, sometimes we don't have the time or, the space, because our apartment is tiny.
Because I work all the time.
And she works all the time. Oh, now my husband's going, well, we could play a board game. He's feeling bad. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, he said I'm not feeling bad.
They can hear you. Okay. Anyways.
We love you, Asher.
We love you, Asher. Go back to your TV. Anyways, back from the mighty derail of time. One of the issues that a lot of people have is that they don't have friends locally that they can play board games with. And now this service, which is going on Kickstarter, will actually allow you to create your own board games and simulate your own board games, and it's going to be a kind of a subscription service. Their original goal is $20,000, and they've already have $33,000 as of September 1st. So it's going to go live on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. And so now you can actually play, and you will also be able to create your own games as well. It will give you kits for content creation. So those aspiring board game creators out there will be able to actually do it.
And this will give some of us a chance to actually stream board games, because streaming board games kind of sucks.
And they will have licensed games from board creators such as Imperial Settlers, Zuletto, and Village, and Spyfall, and Viceroy, or there should be Viceroy, that will be available once the service starts.
So that'll be cool. And that's really good. I do a lot of things online with a lot of friends online, because I'm one of those people who kind of collects one or two very close friends everywhere I go, but I don't really have a ton of a huge group of people. Yeah. So it'll be nice to actually be able to do things with my friends.
Pretty much. And now you can also destroy your friendships if you play Settlers of Catan.
I don't play Settlers.
That game ends friendships.
I will not play Settlers.
Moving on. Next up is Larian Studios, and specifically, they have recently gone to Kickstarter over crowdfunding Divinity Original Sin 2. I question how many Original Sins you can possibly have, just like I wonder how many Final Fantasies you can possibly have, but I suppose once you've had one fantasy and another one comes along, that makes that one. But you can still only have one Original Sin, so I'm just rambling.
Okay, how about Almost Original Sin 2?
It's the secondary sin.
Well, you can, actually, no, it can be an original sin, like, Eddie Izzard go, oh, bless me, Father, for I've had impure thoughts, and the priest goes, oh, heard it. And, well, bless me, Father, for I poked a badger with a spoon. That's a new one. That's an original sin. Say, hey, 5 Hail Marys and 4 Hello Dollies.
Okay, originality in terms of originality, not in terms of ordinance. All right.
Sports.
So, anyways, I guess Larian Studios recently went to Kickstarter and put up a request for, I believe it was $500,000, and in the first couple hours,
they had like 700,000. As
of this morning, they were like at 125,000.
Really?
Or probably not 125,000. 1,200,000. There was a bigger number.
They're at $1,263,750.
Yeah, something like that.
With 23 days to go, still. Now the controversy is because they have already produced, of course, Divinity Original Sin, and it sold very well. So people kept asking, well, it sold very well, so why are you doing a Kickstarter for a second game? And to their credit, they admitted, well, we do have the budget to actually create the game, but this Kickstarter is essentially being run to do all of the things that we want to do and to make the game have as many features and be even better than the first game. So of course the problem going on is that people are asking, well, is this an ethical use of Kickstarter? Or even if it is ethical, is it something you should be doing? Because, remember, is it Shenmue 3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shenmue 3.
Shenmue 3 pulled...
Uh-oh.
Windows 10 has eaten him.
Froze.
Gotta love that face.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
There he goes.
Yep. He's
He went,
down.
He went bye-bye. He'll be back in a minute. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That was
my baby.
that was a Windows 10. So anyways,
Hello, my rectangle.
I forget what we're talking about. What were we talking about?
We were
yeah.
talking about the Larian Studios Original Sin 2.
Yeah, so Shenmue 3, the problem with them, I forget exactly what the end result of that was. I know they basically ended up saying, no, this Sony's funding this. This is not you guys. No, he's back.
Here he
I'm
is.
sorry.
Except there's no
I have been
face.
suffering
There
from the Windows 8.1 plague, where my Wi-Fi magically drops off, and then I have to turn my Wi-Fi off and then back on for it to start, and it pisses me the hell off.
So you were saying about ethics and Shenmue 3 and...
Okay, so as we knew, Shenmue 3 was doing the same thing. They ramped up fan interest and they got pledges, and then they revealed, oh yeah, we actually do have a funder or a backer that will invest in this. So the question is whether or not companies should be doing this, especially when they know they do have the funds to make the game, but they want extra spice and all things nice on it. Should they be immediately upfront to their player base, or should they, etc.? All of these questions. So what do you people think concerning what Larian Studios has done so far with
And
it?
looking at Moonshine's comment here, he basically says that they kept working on Original Sin, adding more and more to it until they were nearly neck deep in debt. I understand that with an original game. However, that demonstrates poor economic allocation, and when you're going into your
Learning
second
when
game,
to stop.
yeah, if you're going into your second game and you still haven't learned that, my faith in you is now even less.
Yeah.
So, because now they're in a situation of, yes, they have a lot of money from their successful venture. Now, on top of that, they're going and getting the advanced money from a Kickstarter campaign. What happens when they fail and run out of money then?
Right, and it's also a thing of it's also about, here's the thing, game development is not as clear cut, black and white. This is how much we do, etc. This is where we stop, because in many ways it's something that is full of pitfalls and unexpected issues. I learned about, I have talked to the Coles, and we'll talk to them about this when we have them here next week, Lori and Corey Cole. During their time in Sierra as developers, the majority of games never shipped on time, the ones that they worked on, either because there were bugs or because they needed something cut, or they needed to add content to make parts of the game more coherent. However, even though they are what I'm going to say, seasoned developers, when they ran the Hero U campaign, they had to do one campaign with a projected amount, and then very early on, they had an engine change because several people had to leave the team, not for any acrimonious reasons, but because they had better opportunities. And, Lori and Corey are not evil assholes that go, no, you are held and contract bound to us. Yeah. So let them go. But then, halfway through, they realize, well, this means that we're going to have to run another Kickstarter at this specific point to get the last bit of money. That is different than going, well, on our first game, we kind of went and just kept adding stuff over and over and over, and then we kind of went almost bankrupt, so we needed the money. And now we have twice the amount of the original game, maybe, and that means we will just continue adding more and more and more stuff until we almost run out of money. Then, you need to show some restraint. You need to show that you need to show that you can make the difficult choice and say, okay, we need to cut this, and we need to go with this.
Edit yourself, make a good game, let it stand on its own premise, and if you have enough content to make a third, great, move on to the third.
Yeah, it
you
sounds
don't
like
need
they
everything
had,
crammed into the second game.
Yeah, feature creep is very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like that's that was one of the things that really, really weighed on the first Divinity.
All right, so we're going to skip the next topic because we're running down to 35 minutes here.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and skip on to comic books, and next up is New Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mouse, you want to take that one since that was your baby?
Well, we have found out some more stuff about the New Avengers comic, which of course stars some characters that we have seen from the Young Avengers run, such as Hulkling and Wiccan. We see the unbeatable Squirrel Girl, who is one of my favorite farcical characters. We have Hawkeye, we have the non-cool Hawkeye, I'll put it that way. It's not Kate Bishop, it's Clint. I'm sorry.
I'm not going the non-cool one. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm sorry.
One.
I don't like Clint as much as I like Kate. Kate's a sassy bitch. I like her.
The original Hawkeye.
The original Hawkeye.
The dude. It's
the dude.
The guy one.
The guy one.
Some of the interesting things about this projected run is, for example, that Berto, who is Sunspot, and who fortunately is Brazilian, unlike the movies, is a wanted man. What exactly is he wanted for? It has been left very vague. I have not been following the recent X continuity, so
it's not even X continuity. He hasn't been with the X-Men franchise in years. He's been with the Avengers, and I don't even know what the hell he's wanted for.
Yeah, that has been left up a little bit in the air, so I honestly don't know what he's wanted for.
The only thing I can think of is that they might associate him with some of the criminal activities that AIM has undertaken, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Could be. Who knows? I don't really see him as really. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see exactly what they bring to the table. But he's more or less not going to be as active in the battlefield, obviously, as he used to be, because again, he's a wanted fugitive. So he's going to be kind of like the M to James Bond instead of actually being a field agent. And you have all of these other characters. Wiccan and Hulkling we haven't seen since the very, very good Kieran Gillen run from 2013 to 2014.
And apparently, Wiccan has been taking some serious steroids since then.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the artist. I'm not crazy about this art. Wiccan's chest is like, I don't know, it's like the size of Squirrel Girl. I don't get this. He's the magic user. Okay, he's supposed to be squishy. Don't know.
Hulk really like him squishy.
Hulk's like, God, just stop it. Just stop it.
Probability bending, yes.
Yeah, probably.
If I had that power, I'd make myself look,
You would not be able to find shirts anywhere. You'd have to walk around in a sheet.
Do I look like I would care?
Probably not. And we have, of course, Songbird, who is the daughter of Banshee. And they've also revealed the presence of apparently Ultimate Universe Reed Richards.
Maybe. It's not confirmed.
But
they basically said it's somebody wearing his hat and calling himself the Maker, but you don't know that it's him or not because they don't want to spill the beans on what's going on with Secret Wars.
The Secret Wars, yes.
Because it may or may not be him. Who knows?
I'm looking forward to it. I know that there's 2 titles of the new runs that I'm going to get from Marvel. One of them is this, just to see what they do with Billy and Teddy. Personally, I think Teddy deserves a better boyfriend than Whiner Billy. And also the other title where, I forget the name now, where Miss America Chavez is. You know the one I'm talking about, Drew.
I know what you're talking about. A-Force? No, that's not.
No.
I forget.
No.
I forget.
Regular title.
I don't remember. I'd have to go look it up.
All right. Anyways,
There's so
moving
many
on.
things I've got in my head, and that's not high in the priority list, unfortunately.
All right. And so now we're moving into Witchcraft.
Scarlet Witch and her special magic.
All right.
We kind of went to
wants to
town on this
touch
before
this?
we were on the air. I'm serious. Cece was not having it because
Okay, so anytime that when you're trying to flesh out a female character and they talk about as your own woman, it instantly makes me think, like, really? Because generally when someone brings up the female and at first I was like, oh, as her own woman, okay, that may just be a turn of phrase. But then I went down and the writer talks about her form of magic is a special feminine magic, and all I can think of is like, oh, she gets it from her ovaries. Magic,
it's gynomancy.
like
Okay.
magic
Gyn-
ovary fluid. Like you punch her in the gut, and she just explodes with magic fluid. Magic ovaries.
Thus
like-
the end of the mutants.
Like really, like anytime they're like, it's a special female magic. I'm like, what?
It must
What?
flow forth from her
It was
uterus.
for Ruth. It's because she can spit out children. Her eggs give her magic. And when she goes into menopause, she loses these powers. It's her kryptonite. Aging is her kryptonite.
The
Like,
red flow.
like
The scarlet flow.
Oh God, you did not.
I had to. I had
You
to.
did not.
I had to. CC set me up for this.
I did. But, you know, it drives me a little crazy. And I understand that they're trying to make her... He says that he wants to make her magic different than Doctor Strange. Fine.
They want to flesh out the magic of Marvel versus, and I was initially when I was talking about this, I'm like, going, yes, this is the magic where you have to clap to make the fairies fly.
Yeah, and they were talking about this magic. And they talked about they want to flesh her out more as a person as well. I was like, okay, that's fair. She's had so many different writers that and they talk about, well, she doesn't really have a unified personality, and that's really true because so many different people write her so differently. I mean, when they can't even agree on her powers, how are they going to agree on something as complex as her personality
Or her relationship with her brother.
or her relationship with her brother? Like, there's so much strange stuff. I mean, she's Scarlet Witch, and at this point, it's weird to me that they're trying to flesh her out because she's kind of more of a force of nature. She's like Apocalypse. It's like, okay, just don't kill everyone. You know,
Too late. Too late.
Too late.
I know a guy who's like, you know, somebody just needs to kill her. She just needs to die. And of course, you'd have a writer who'd be like, she can't die because magic.
See, the thing is that
Because she has inconsistent powers.
there was a point when in the
Larian
X-Men
Resurrection.
titles, there was a point in the X-Men titles when Kurt had a girlfriend named Amanda something or other. I forget what her last name was.
Amanda Sefton.
Thank
Oh,
you,
God.
Amanda
Oh
Sefton.
God, you're gonna go there. Oh, ew. Ew.
They were really into following the winding path of magic. The whole at one point you're really powerful, and then at another point you're really weak. And this was. I always wanted to go back and explore that in more detail, but it was always just brought in as the Deus Ex Machina of the X-Men magic universe. And, you know, obviously X-Men, the whole mutants got shafted and will forever be shafted until Fox lets go.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got Scarlet Witch, and then really in terms of magic, the only other
Ilyana
two people...
Rasputina.
I mean, then you've got Doctor Strange, and then off on the corner you have Ilyana Rasputin and Pixie, who have the same type of magic because one taught the other.
Yeah.
And then
Amanda Sefton. Oh God, Amanda
who has
Sefton
disappeared.
Who has disappeared and who was Kurt's lover and also his sister, adoptive sister. But still, they grew up together.
Well,
Ew.
it's because her mother was the.
Yeah. Well, no, it's even worse because. This is like one of the most fucked up moments in all of X-Men history because Kurt has been seeing Amanda for the longest time as girlfriend, and then she has been disguised herself all this time through magic, and then she reveals herself, oh, I'm your sister, and he goes, great, And everybody's fine with the fact that he's been boning his sister for like the past, year and a half or so.
Adopted, but still.
Adopted, but they grew up together. There's just
That's
a
what I say, but still.
there's a psychological background to all of that you just can't remove. Just no.
Yeah.
Just no.
So, yeah, and this all comes out of Scarlet Witch's desire to be explored, I guess.
In any case, I think there are good things and bad things. We just have to see how this turns out. It's good that they're trying to flesh out more of her personality. It's good that they're trying to pin down what her version of magic actually is, because I'm kind of tired of I can magic being her Deus Ex Machina.
Which is the same thing her son does too.
Magic.
That's the thing she is a mutant whose power is probability manipulation. So the magic actually is used to control that power.
Yes and no, but then you can also have but the problem is people don't really it's not agreed upon where that ends, because in one thing she's like, okay, she's kind of a medium level power user, but on the other ones she just unmakes the entire universe. Exactly. So it's good that they're trying to figure out who she actually is and try to create a one figure behind it. She doesn't have that writing force behind her that you had, say, behind Wonder Woman, who goes, okay, this is how Diana works. This is what her powers are. This is what she does. This is how she loses her powers. This is laying things out and creating very solid groundwork. Scarlet Witch doesn't have that. So it's good that they're trying to lay the groundwork. I'm just worried because when someone says, I'm really making a point of stressing that there's a female energy that connects with a certain kind of magic, and that is the exact quote, it makes me a little wary because I'm like, what?
Well, not only that, but Billy, her son, has the same kind of magic, to the point that he's supposedly at one point might become the demiurge of the universe, and he will set magic free. So what kind of feminine energy is he tapping into?
Okay, let me bring up my 2 points now, because you realize the demiurge creates a universe of all lesbians.
That's true. Where Miss America Chavez is basically the princess of power.
There you go. There's his feminine flow. It comes out in an entire universe. But again, this is the reason I went back to the Winding Way concept, because the Winding Way was meant to be a euphemism for the female flow, and that's why all the practitioners were women.
That's a very bad euphemism. I can't imagine anything That's just a bad. When I imagine something winding, it's like a tentacle or something, or like, I don't know, a party streamer. That's just a very bad euphemism. I'm sorry.
Well, the Winding Way, in as much as that you would go from a point of being incredibly powerful to a point of having absolutely no power whatsoever.
And ebb and flow.
It was meant to be a cyclical concept.
Ebb and flow. There you go.
That's exactly what it was. It was the ebb and flow.
In any case, this could be good. This could be good. This could be bad. We're just going to have to see how they do it.
They recently did a mini-series called The Books of Magic. Not the same as DC's, but they did The Books of Magic. It was a 4-issue limited series where they had one for Sister Grimm, one for Scarlet Witch, one for Magic, and I forget who the 4th person was, where they had a character going through and they interacted with these characters in as much as they were trying to get some sort of, I forget, I got to go back and look at it again, but it was a very interesting story. And if they are going in that concept of exploring the magic first and foremost, as opposed to let's go and explore her femininity and see how that makes her powerful.
Well,
the magic uterus.
We're just gonna have to see how it turns out.
Actually, I saw a picture by Nebeziel, I think it is, the Deviant artist, who basically explained the reason why females in medieval type fantasy settings wear such minimal armor, and it's like this glowing thing where her uterus should be. It's like the more exposed the uterus is, the more powerful we are. So, God, I hope it doesn't turn into that, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Alright, so we're going to skip Amadeus Chose the Hulk. Spoilers.
By the way.
Going on to Raising Dion. Mouse, just take it. There's even a movie trailer for it.
Yes, so this comic is a very interesting comic. I downloaded the first issue, which you can download for free. I have not read it yet, but It's basically the point of view of raising a young child with powers who will, could one day become a superhero or a supervillain. And it's all from the point of view of the parent and the mother, especially since her husband died. In the trailer, he's addressed as the late husband. We don't know how he died. At least not yet. I haven't read the first book. And all of the challenges that a parent like that has to deal with, including people taking interest in the fact that your son has powers and how you try to keep it secret. So this is a book that I'm really interested in getting into. And the trailer is fabulous. It's a short movie basically that introduces the concept of the comic, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, if I can find the trailer on YouTube when I put it up, I'll make a link inside of here on the graphic that you can follow to go see the. It's a live action trailer. It's basically conducted as if it were sort of the trailer to a television show or to a movie. Mm-hmm. But it's obviously a drawn comic series. But it's a very, very interesting, very well done trailer. So it really does go into a lot of the feelings.
The Racing Dion was created by Dennis Liu, who is a Taiwanese American writer and filmmaker. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I really like that Raising Dion is starring a woman of color. We don't see very much of that in film, in comic books right now. It's a woman of color without superpowers. This is a superhero story about her.
Yeah.
And her raising that kid. And I think that's really, really... it's a nice perspective to have it from a mom's, but as always, I think it's really good that we're introducing some more diversity, and I mean genuine diversity, not just not tokenism. And that's what I really feel like a lot of diversity has become in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
So it's good that they're having genuine diversity, an actual story about an actual.
And it's an interesting story. We saw a little bit of that in The Incredibles, but not so much because, again, Elastigirl has powers. So she kind of is on the level with her children, and she knows how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Here we have a regular mortal woman who has to deal with all of the shitstorm that.
And you have the situation where you have a single mother who is attempting to fill both roles, so to speak, in the parental universe, but at the same time, whereas a normal adult with a normal child can deal with a tantrum, how do you deal with a tantrum when your child can turn invisible, teleport, throw things with their mind,
and
set
lightning.
things on fire?
Yeah.
I mean, she's trying to instill a moral ground, a way to work within society, and still, it's still, in such a way that, you can't just slap the child because that teaches a different concept. So
yeah,
it's a very empowering storyline for her.
And I love during the trailer, she talks about, well, there's no role models. There's no role models for him. There's no books for him. So she's seen, working on a digital tablet. She makes a book for her son, a child's book for her son, called when and where to use my powers. So these are stories that haven't really been told,
and that's really, really nice. Again, a woman of color in a superhero book that doesn't even have superpowers and is creating what is going to be this amazing superhero. So I love it. I love it, and I can't wait to read it.
All right. Mouse, do you mind if we skip the DCU one?
Skip it.
All right. Moving on to Titan's Hunt.
Okay, so now we have found out a little bit more about what Titan Hunt is to be about, and I have to admit, starting this October, and I really have to admit that I am disappointed. Whereas this comes out of Convergence, and we were it was hinted that we might be getting a comic about the original Teen Titans. By that I mean, of course, Donna Troy, Dick Grayson, etc. It turns out that it has not happened. The story in which Lilith gathers all of the old Titans who don't remember their past history together. This is actually happening in the current universe, the New 52 universe. And so this is going to be a bit of a clusterfuck trying to pull this off, because whereas in the original DC universe, which is still out there after Convergence, it exists out there. Now they can actually tell stories there, but they're choosing not to do so for this. In the original story, Donna Troy was kind of like the den mother of the Titans. They grew up together. She was a very kind soul. In the New 52, she is kind of like a mass-murdering fuckhead and a bit of a psycho. Garth, who again, Aqualad, in the original DC universe was not a bad sort. He kind of had a bit of fucked up period, but then again, who didn't? In the New 52, he's an outright villain. So I have no idea how they're going to pull this off, or how they're even going to make these characters sympathetic.
We'll see. There's always the hero redeemed. They may be going for more of a former Darkstar kind of Donna Troy thing.
Well, the problem is that she was literally just recently created.
Yeah.
And literally just recently unleashed, and trying to create.
She's just escaped from her prison.
Just now putting in a backstory where she couldn't theoretically have existed is the problem. So
we'll
did she exist and then spontaneously leap out of existence? Is this a time lost version of her, or
it's very silly, because honestly, here's the thing. The current Teen Titans book is awful, just awful. It's barely above what it was when Lobdell was writing the comic, and that comic was bad. If comics could kill, that comic could kill you. That comic would give you cancer. And one of the things that we saw from Convergence is that the Convergence Teen Titans book, which was set during the 1980s Marv Wolfman run, actually sold twice as many comics as the current run of Teen Titans. So why the hell are we still visiting these characters that obviously nobody gives a damn about, versus the characters that a lot of people remember fondly and who actually have chemistry, who have history, and now you're going to try and force that where it didn't exist before?
Well, it could be that they've seen the error of their ways and they're trying to fix that. And that's what I'm hoping they're trying to do. And so I want to give, maybe, if not give them the benefit of the doubt, at least give them a chance to prove that they're going to give us a good story. And, they may have to come up with some inconceivable plot lines to make this work. But if they can actually, but once they've actually made it work, if they're actually going to create that kind of character dynamic that everyone wanted, and that everybody obviously was so pleased with the latest Marv Wolfman Convergence issue, then why not try and let them?
And it's entirely possible that just because they say this is the 52 universe, it's actually not the 52 universe, because well, no, hear me out, because they've already pointed out that there's a significant inconsistency right now between the Justice League titles and the actual character titles, because in Justice League you still have A, Batman alive, B, Superman is still Superman and not Clark Kent. So you have a distinct parallelism going on right now, where you've got the Justice League is one way, and then you've got another over here where the Justice League is another way, and either one has to become the back end of the other, or they're parallel universes. So it's entirely possible that they are just running with a simple parallel universe in the whole DCU concept.
We'll see, but I'm a little hesitant. But then again, Abnett has proven himself to be a good writer. I just hope that this project is not the end of that streak.
But aside from that, there was 2 other animated series that were announced back in July that we kind of missed. One was Batman Bad Blood, which is supposed to be the introduction of Batwoman into the animated series continuity, although they don't know which Batwoman yet. The other one is Justice League versus Titans. And they don't know which version of the Titans they're talking about either. It could be, we're talking Titans Hunt concept. It could be anything. But this is to bring them into the unofficial animated universe also. So,
Yeah, here's hoping. We'll see what's going to happen.
So moving on to television and Moonbeam City.
Moonbeam City. Now, there's not a lot of information on this show. All I know is that it looks like it basically is a show like Archer, but the art style is 100% Patrick. How do you pronounce his last name? Nagel? Patrick Nagel?
Nagel, I think.
Nagel, who was one of the foremost pop artists in the 80s. If you don't know him, Google him because his art is superb. It's the mastery of style, of line of
It's
very,
that very
balanced.
clean, very Euro sort of poppy. Basically, if you lived in the 80s, you know this artwork.
Exactly.
It was every freaking where.
It's gorgeous.
bright
I love it.
color.
It's one of my favorite styles. For a while, and Foomph is saying that that's Rick Springfield. It does look like Rick Springfield.
Well, in as much as anything he drew that was male looked like Rick Springfield. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to debut on Comedy Central on September 16 of this year at 10:30 p.m. And it's supposed to be like a parody show of the 1980 cop shows like Miami Vice. And the cast is Elizabeth Banks, Rob Lowe, Kate Mara, and Will Forte. And the music of the show is by Nightclub. So this is the show I really want to watch.
Yeah, this is the new version of Archer, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be watching this. Archer for me was hit or miss. This is going to probably make me laugh my ass off.
Possibly. Maybe.
Let's see. I'm going to skip Game Changers.
Yes.
Let's move on into Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Basically, we had a recent interview with Oscar Isaac, where he was asked to compare his character in Star Wars: The Force Awakens versus Apocalypse.
Yes.
I'll let you take that one, Mouse.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I said Oscar Isaac was recently asked to discuss the character differences between his character in Force Awakens versus Apocalypse. There he goes.
And he's gone. Bye.
8.1 strikes again.
Okay, well, Star Wars The Force Awakens. I mean, it looks... I have been warming up to the movie. I was not super excited about it at first because they had J.J. Abrams as a director, and I think he is vastly overrated. I think he puts too much stock in the mystery and mystique of the movies rather than just making a good movie, and lens flare hurts my eyes. So...
Sorry.
You know, not... So that's him. That's why I was a little wary. I was worried that he was going to bring too much of his direction into... Oh, that's a weird split. I just saw that.
Yes, it's because you're the only person on the screen now, so...
Weird. Sorry. I was worried about his directing style.
For those who don't know...
Damn it.
is he back?
I think so.
Yes.
Go on.
Well,
I'm going to fix this.
For those who don't know, Isaac is actually going to be playing the main pilot, Poe Dameron, in Force Awakens. He's, quote, the best pilot in the rebellion, or I guess do you really call it a rebellion at this point? Whatever it is. So he's like the new Han Solo, so to speak. But I guess is he actually playing Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse? I believe he is.
I don't know. I don't remember who was playing Apocalypse.
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to read the full article. I just kind of grabbed it real quick.
Yeah, this is something that Mouse was going to talk about.
Yeah.
In any case, I've been warming up to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. It looks like they're trying really hard to respect the original material, the original directing style, the original writing, and understanding that a lot of people got really upset with all the changes in these various editions that George Lucas has added. So they're trying. So I think what they've been doing so far seems pretty positive.
All right, are you with us?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay, shall we skip ahead to Marvel so that we can just get your part done?
Yes.
All right. Marvel had a big split between Marvel Studios and Marvel Entertainment. And there were many factors in that.
Yes. One of the main factors is that basically Kevin Feige... Feige? Do you pronounce it Feige?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
I see it and I read Feige, like, German, but whatever. The president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, has had it up to here with Marvel Entertainment CEO Isaac Perlmutter. Feige, Perlmutter. You can have a movie there. One of the huge issues is that Perlmutter is by nature very, very frugal. In fact, he's freaking frugal, which tends to be a good thing when you want to rein in runaway costs. But we're talking about superhero movies, science fiction epics like Guardians of the Galaxy. These are things that you can't really go, okay, here's this much money, you make it stretch as much as you can. You just can't do that. According to Fumf is Feige and Perlmutter. Okay, Feige, whatever. One of the points of contention was basically Perlmutter's increasing interference with the budget for Captain America Civil War. Perlmutter was also responsible for replacing Terrence Howard when he requested a pay raise, and he also almost fired Robert Downey Jr. Feige was so frustrated with this mess that he started talking about actually quitting, and at this point is when we had an intervention, because basically you don't want to get rid of Feige. He has basically delivered so much, and so of course you remember that one of the interventions run by Perlmutter caused Edgar Wright to depart Ant-Man. So this is a pattern. This is a pattern that the committee has had for a while, and which is now coming to a head thanks to Civil War. Basically, the
ironically
over Civil War, there's split over Civil War. How? No, that's not ironic.
Keep going.
Okay. So
We have 4
Alanis
minutes left.
Morissette sort of way. It's ironic.
it's ironic and it's not ironic. Okay, so basically, now basically the studios are no longer the film division is no longer going to be beholden to the Marvel Entertainment itself, but they're going to answer directly to Disney, which is not a bad thing because, again, Disney is not a company that squanders money when it comes to throwing stuff at their productions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was also the aspect that Marvel had a board of people that had to scrutinize everything down to the minutia, including the various sciences behind the superpowers, essentially. Mm-hmm. And this board was essentially built of people who had other positions in the company. So getting them together to where they could actually go over a particular topic was tedious in and of itself. And then resolving the topic was compounded tedium. And so that particular, they said that Doctor Strange is the last movie that group is actually going to have any say over. So there is a certain amount of release and relief in that they no longer answer to that sort of oversight. So
which could be good, it could be bad.
Well, it consisted of the president of Marvel Entertainment, who was Alan Fine. And then, of course, the writer, Brian Michael Bendis, who should not have been in the committee to begin with. Then you had the publisher, who was Dan Buckley, and the chief creative officer, Joe Quesada, or as I call him, Joe the Cheeseman. The new group that will be helming these projects, of course, will be Feige, Louis Desposito, and Victoria Alonso. They will helm the projects as they head into Phase 3. A version of the committee might also survive in Marvel TV.
Well, but that's Marvel TV.
We'll see.
But that's Marvel TV. We'll see.
So, are we done with Marvel? Because I think we're going to.
I think we
wrap
are.
Up. Let's just wrap up. We're going to go. We'll skip the other topics, and we can use them at another point.
You're not going to say how you're much going to hate Batman?
No, I can talk about hating Batman any day.
I I actually have. I had a friend who I was talking about the new Batman versus Superman with, and he actually brought up some very good points that to counter mine, that I think would be good to discuss. But on some other time.
We can either put it on the agenda for next week after the Coles or week after, whatever. I'm sure there'll be more reasons for me to hate it.
After we're also going. Then we should add the debate about Spielberg's statements next week too.
Well, we'll add all that later. All right, so just to go ahead and wrap up, I want to congratulate Shane Cottam for being our giveaway winner from our previous episode.
Woo!
Yay!
And he will be receiving all the lovely comic graphic novels that I'm showing here on the screen. I'll be sending those out to him. Just as a reminder, next week, Lori and Corey Cole, the creators of Hero U, Rogue to Redemption,
and Quest for Glory,
and the Quest for Glory games, as well as on various other games that they've worked on over the years.
Castle of Dr. Brain.
That too. They will be joining us for an interview. So if you have questions that you would like to send in, please email Mounts, email me, Twitter, do whatever. Just be tasteful, because we're going to, Mouse is in charge of the questions. So
yes, send the questions to this email, Vorpal, that is VORPAL at grinnersandlosers.com.
Yeah. And I have one quick correction from earlier in the episode. Mouse referred to Songbird as the daughter of Banshee. Siren is the daughter of Banshee, not Songbird. They are two very, very, very similar, yet
we were talking about this earlier, and I got
characters.
confused.
Yeah. So Siren is the daughter of Banshee. Songbird has generic alcoholic father. So
generic alcoholic father.
Right. Actually, yeah. So if I recall correctly, then Songbird used to be in. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
So in any case, very, very similar, slightly different. Just wanted to
different.
Add that correction in.
So again, if you have questions, send them to Mouse at vorpal@grinnersandlosers.com, or you can comment at the episode if you're watching it on YouTube later and feel like putting it there. Come and watch us. We will be returning to Saturdays for our normal broadcast, Saturdays at 1 o'clock. For the foreseeable future, now that CC is no longer working on Saturdays.
Hopefully. There's anyway.
But here's all our lovely subscribe, support me on Patreon, please.
Follow us.
Follow us on Twitch.
You want to follow us?
There's the stream community that you can join. I forgot that it's not public. I'll make it public so that you can join it if you wish. Listen to us on Twitter. And come out and join us next Saturday at 1 o'clock. And we'll be here for episode 202. And the Coles will be our special guests. Guys, do you have anything you want to say at the end here?
Join us. Watch us. Comment. Follow us. We want to do this. Yes.
We want to do this.
And when you send me your questions, be respectful. Again, these people are legends, and they're doing us a very nice favor in talking to us and spending time out of their creation of Hero U to talk to us. So be respectful. And if you're in the channel, be respectful.
Yep, they're nice. They're really, really nice to do this for us. They're doing it
1 p.m. Pacific time.
So
yes.
All right. So see you guys later, and this will be up on YouTube in a few minutes when it finishes processing, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right.